looking at?
Good Thursday night, one and all. Welcome into another episode of Thursday Night Geeks. I am Bill Smith, alongside the newly elected mayor of Flavortown, USA, Dan Davidson. Dan, good to have you here, or should I say Mr. Fieri?
I'm gonna have to, it's funny. I just packed all that gear away for the move. All my cosplay for Guy Fieri. It's great to be here, buddy. Happy Thursday to you. Happy Thursday to everybody joining us here for a fun night of discussion. I always look forward to Thursday nights, man, because it's time to reflect of a great and awesome relationship. And I just want to thank my wife.
I was going to say, you want to thank our viewers.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
I want to say hi to some viewers. Good evening, Burley. Good to have you here. Of course, Ross is here on Thursday night. Jim, good to see you, Jim. And of course, Helen. If it's Thursday, Helen is in the chat room. We're very excited about that. And Grand Love 678. Hey, everyone, right back. Dan's backdrop looks oddly empty, says Helen, just like the inside of his head.
Exactly. Yes. Packing up. We're heading back up to Maine, so we're moving. So the first thing I need to do is break down this room because there's so much here. So it's all packed up in boxes. And once we get, it'll be kind of drab like this for the next few weeks. But mid-December, it'll be in the new gig. And all my Star Trek stuff will be back out. Yeah.
Drab is the perfect way to describe you.
It is. Drab.
It's amazing.
Drab Dan.
Our friend Jim is here. Hey, Jim, it's great to see you, buddy. And of course, always a great time on Thursday night. If you're with us live tonight, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. If you're joining us after the fact on YouTube or listening to the audio only version, thank you for checking it out. Be sure to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe and click like and get notified when there's new episodes of Thursday Night Geeks, which, Dan, air on Thursdays.
Thursdays at night with two geeks.
As the logo says at the top of the screen and my shirt, it's on.
Here's my eyes. I got double vision.
Whoa, a little Foreigner action there.
There you go.
Did you hear that Journey is going out on their final tour and they're calling it The Final Frontier?
I did not know that. I knew that they were going out on tour. I did not know the name. And it's also funny that they're going on tour. It's going to take 2 years for the tour, but they've been like headbutting and suing the shit out of each other for a few years now, the band members. So the fact that they're still doing a tour is kind of interesting.
Dan, Steve is also in the house. I'm thinking, what would that look like for us? We'd be butting heads and suing each other right and left, almost like Hall & Oates.
Exactly. Yep, that's right. Yep.
It's Brad is back from Baltimore. Baltimore's a great place to be back from, I think I would say. Jim says he just did a move a couple of months ago. Wish you luck on that, Dan. I know what it's like. Heck yes.
Yeah. Yes, as you do too. Not too long ago there, Bill.
That's true. And we have Troy in the house. Thirsty Geeks, Thirsty Thursdays indeed. Then that leads us to the question of the evening at this part of the show.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
You got me hooked on it, man. I look forward to it every Thursday night. I'm going with the same thing I did last week. It's an old fashioned, but it's a maple apple old fashioned. It's got apple cider. It's got maple syrup, cinnamon stick, and that amazing bourbon that you got for me, man. And Cheers
The
to
Frey
you.
Ranch.
Pretty damn
Yes.
good. Yes, very good stuff.
Very
Yep.
good.
What
I'm
do you got? Looks
drinking
like you got a whole bottle of nothing there.
a water. Yeah. It's it's a nice vintage. It's vintage 2025. It's filtered to perfection.
Tape.
Well, it's tap A, but filtered
Oh,
probably through reverse osmosis, and I don't really know what the hell that means.
filtre
But
tape.
it's also chilled to a
Ooh,
wonderful 38 degrees Fahrenheit in
okay.
my Stanley mug using ice that is also using filtered water.
Okay. So that's pretty filtery. Yeah.
I'd like to think that filter is your middle name.
We can go with that if you want.
That's true. Dan,
Yep.
tonight we're going to talk about some news. Originally, we thought we were going to talk about the Sabrina Wood Legacy Fund. The
Mhm.
sisters have asked us if we can move that to next week so that they can actually attend the conversation
Yes.
that we're going to have.
Yep.
And we were happy to accommodate that. So
Mhm.
next week will be our episode about Sabrina and the fund that honors her legacy. Tonight, however, we're going to talk about a lot of news, and there's been a lot of it recently.
Yeah.
So it's time to spin up the Trek Geeks newsroom.
Oh boy.
Well, no, not just yet. I'm just saying
Oh,
that's the
I was
topic.
taking a deep breath. Okay. Yeah. Yes, it's good. It's good to. We haven't done it in a while. And because there really has there been a whole lot of stuff, other than just the little dribs and drabs here and there. But yeah, like you said, recently there's been a lot of stuff, a lot of big stuff. So we're going to talk about at least a few of them tonight. And it's going to be good stuff,
Including big stuff today.
very, very, very recent, like just a few hours ago. Yeah.
Things that people have hoped would happen for years have finally happened. And we're
Finally
not
happened.
talking about you've learned additional words in the English language.
I spells good.
Well, let's not get crazy. So, Dan, let's take a minute here to reset the table. We're going to come back and talk some news of the galaxy. Stay right where you are. And Dan, I mean you also.
Oh, okay.
We'll be right back. Oh, he didn't stay right where he was. It's the best thing that's ever
Gotcha.
happened.
I thought that would be fun. I thought you'd be cheering and dancing in the streets there for a second, buddy.
Well, I've got a really fragile ship next to me, and I don't want to necessarily get up and do a touchdown celebration because this thing will be all over the floor.
Yes.
Of
I know what
course,
that's like.
Thursday Night Geeks presented by FanSets.
Mm-hmm.
Our pins have character, Daniel.
Very good character.
Lots of character, Daniel.
Well, speaking of which, I wonder how Jude is doing this.
I do say hello, Jude. Hello, Governor. And we suspect you're watching, Jude. Damn it, man.
I would think so.
His brain is going to explode.
It really is. We're talking to him next week, and he's going to be mad at us.
Me in particular.
Yes.
So, Dan, earlier, not long ago, I talked about spinning up the Trek Geeks newsroom.
Yeah.
I think it's time for you to do your thing.
Oh,
yeah. Take a sip. That's important. You want to make sure that your vocal cords are ready, prepared. Spanning the Alpha Quadrant. For all the news on all the Star Treks, yo. It's TrekNews.net.
Go get it.
Whoa. I'm not sure what that was, but please remember this is a family show.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, Dan. Up first, it appears that we have reached the end of the Kelvin Timeline movies. Of course, Star Trek Beyond came out coming up on 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
And there have been lots of fits and starts, but no fourth Kelvin Timeline movie. And it appears now that's going to be off the table.
Yeah. I can't say I'm overly surprised at this. They've been talking about bringing a movie back, and they've got somebody who's writing a script, and hey, let's get Quentin Tarantino involved and this, that, and the other thing for, like you said, 10 years. And then, of course, recently Paramount has been purchased or merged with Skydance. So there's a whole bunch of changes going on. We know about all the changes that have been happening with Paramount and CBS over the last couple of years. So there was some big talk this week. And one of the big wigs up at Paramount, I apologize that I don't have his name in front of me, but he said,
I got it.
Hope, you got it right there. Who's this now?
CEO David Ellison, who was the son of
David
Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he says that, quote, the hope is to have a fresh, oh no, I'm sorry. This is not a quote. I apologize. The hope is to have a fresh Star Trek movie, though the studio has moved on from the idea of bringing back Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, and the rest of the ensemble from the J.J. Abrams reboots. So Kelvin Timeline be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Jim McMahon says, no.
That's a very good Darth Vader impersonation there. I like that.
Thank you. I wanted to cross the streams a little bit there. You know, I really feel like what has hurt this franchise is sort of the being stuck in cement. You know, it's like somebody dumped, fresh wet cement on their shoes and they just didn't want to move and go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, first they had the script from Payne and McKay, and then it was going to be directed by S.J. Clarkson, and then it was going to be directed by Matt Shackman, who did WandaVision, and I also believe did the last Fantastic Four movie, the new one for Marvel. Okay. There have been so many fits and starts, and the Tarantino idea, which never really came to fruition, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. I really think that this part of the franchise is over simply because Paramount was stupid.
Yeah. Just as recently as last spring, Paramount said that they were looking at a Star Trek origin film, and people were wondering if that was going to be in which timeline. So they're still talking about Star Trek, but like you just said, that's all they've been doing. All they've been doing is talking about it. So yeah, I think they have done something stupid. I also wonder, man, and let me know what your thoughts are. The idea of when of course the 2009 movie, we were so jacked up when that one was when the reboot hit. Every movie is very, very exciting, but we're also over the last decade been in the midst of several new Star Trek iterations. Do you think that, I don't want to use the term oversaturation, but that's what I'm going to say, might be part of the reason why at least myself and many people that I've chatted with have been like, oh, no more movies? Okay. Or at least for the Kelvin Timeline. I don't know if is it one of those Star Trek fatigue things, or is it just like you said, because nobody's been doing anything but talking about it for a decade, it's just kind of not as big a deal anymore?
I think there are a variety of things in play here. I think there's that. I think we've had so much Star Trek on television that the idea of a film almost seems kind of like, whatever. Why would I go see a movie when I can just watch it on the small screen? Mm-hmm. And there's been like movie quality Star Trek on the small screen. Right. So you couple that. I mean, the one outlier there is the Section 31 film, which was garbage.
Horrible.
It was a TV movie. So, I mean, that might have been really the only decent reason to keep going with the films. But and Jim brings up a good point here. I think that a large part of the problem is based in money. When Star Trek Beyond was just premiering, they went and signed Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth to a big contract for a fourth movie in the Kelvin Timeline, and then Beyond underperformed. And then they wanted to pay Pine and Hemsworth less money. And Pine said, no, you're not doing that. I've got this contract right here, and it says you're paying me this amount. So unless you're coming back to the table, we're not doing it. And justifiably so. They were dumb enough to write that contract and say, we'll give you this amount of money before ever seeing how Beyond was going to do. So I think that's a big part of it as well, quite frankly.
I also think that part of the reason, this might be digging into the weeds a little bit too much, but maybe somebody who was making these decisions decided, I don't know if we want to do a movie in this universe when there's stories going on in this universe still on television. I don't know. That's just something that it's probably not a huge thing, but Oh, look at that, Ross.
Now,
Thanks,
that
Ross.
lends to
Hey, pal.
Ross's comment, which
Been
says, with
great
the growth of
times.
Trek on the small screen, it makes sense to try to simplify the franchise. Agree 100%. You don't want a Kelvin Trek while you have Strange New Worlds going. And I think that this is probably the biggest clue for what we've talked about, Star Trek on television going into mothballs for a while after Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
They could conceivably do a film with Starfleet Academy, on Paramount Minus, but they're not going to do it as long as Strange New Worlds is around. So this gives them time to circle the wagons. It gives them time to come up with a concept. I guess the question now is, what do they do? I honestly don't know where they go from here.
Maybe it'll be something to do with one of the stories we're going to be talking about in just a few minutes. Who knows? But I agree. And again, I've said this already like 3 times tonight. Maybe it's similar to what we had back when we had our first break of Enterprise on TV for a while after Enterprise went off the air. We had a long time where we didn't have anything, and it re-energized folks. Maybe we're at that point now. But I don't want to use oversaturation, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I hope so. I think part of the problem is that what we've been saturated with hasn't really pleased the vast majority of the fan base. And in fact, that's really been true since 2009. There are some people who aren't going to be pleased until they haul Shatner out there, in his 94-year-old bones. Nothing against Bill Shatner. Captain Kirk is my boyhood hero. Yep. And I mean, William Shatner's Captain Kirk is my boyhood hero. But, unless we trot him out again and George and Walter, I don't think anybody's going to be pleased. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it should happen.
Right.
I think we'll see another recasting of Kirk, Spock, Bones, etc. And I don't think it'll use the people from Strange New Worlds. I could be wrong. Lord knows I've been wrong before. My phone is talking back to me because Google thought I asked it a question. My apologies. But that's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned a second ago it started after 2009. Yeah, you're right. When Into Darkness came out, that's when you're going to get the real hardcore people. They were all upset about the whole Khan situation, and then Beyond underperformed. Discovery, we know there were the people out there that just were bitching about Discovery all the time. Maybe that has something to do with it too. I don't know.
There were enough people annoyed when 2009 came out and said, Kirk goes from cadet to captain in 2 hours. I don't think so. And they're right, quite honestly. There are some flaws in the J.J. Abrams Kelvin timeline. But if you want to go and be entertained, they are great pieces of entertainment. Right. They're fun. So I can only hope that whatever they do next is worth watching. Will I watch it? I will. But of course, I want it. I want it to be the next, revolutionizing of the franchise, in the way that the next gen films were, in the way that bringing Star Trek back to television was. So, what can you do? We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Dan, we move on to our next story, kind of before the break, and the graphics are a little off here, so please accept my apologies, viewers. But the audio listeners will never know. Well, but they will now because I just said it. Damn it. And that is Star Trek United. It appears that Bakula and Mike Sussman, the writer who initially, pitched this idea to him, keep getting asked about this idea to have Archer come back. And Bakula was asked about it recently on a high-profile morning show.
Yeah, it was on the Today Show. He was asked about it, and he says that lately there's this buzz about Enterprise. So he was asked to clear up rumors if Enterprise is coming back or what he wants to do. Would he want to reprise the role of Archer? And he said, a quote, "Of course, I'd love to do more of it, but I can't clear up any rumors because I didn't start them. And they're not planted. They're just people talking about stuff. But you know what? People talking about stuff is what brought Star Trek back. It's always been fan based. And he's open to it. I'm open to it. I think that would be fantastic. I would love to see more Archer story. We've talked about how at the time it wasn't as popular as the other shows during the legacy years. But it has really had a rebirth, so to speak, especially now, people can stream it and watch it in bulk and stuff like that. And it's gotten a real big boost. And we've seen a lot of Enterprise fans in Vegas and other places that we visited over the last couple of years. It's really got it's next level popular now.
I think the thing that really has made people interested in this series is the success of Andor on Disney Plus. And I say success with air quotes because they canceled that show. But arguably, everyone that's watched it said that it was a magnificent achievement and really, really, captured, what it was going to do or trying to do, all the intrigue and all the spying incredibly well. I think that people want to see kind of like the Andor version of Archer as president of the Federation. And we know he's president of the Federation at some point because of Star Trek Enterprise, when in the mirror episode there, when Hoshi's looking at his bar, when Archer's looking at his own bio, or Hoshi's looking at it, I forget which it is.
Yeah.
I think that could be interesting. Dan, if you'll remember, we talked to Scott Bakula as a part of Trek Talks.
Did we?
We did. And the first question that we asked him was, would you come back if Alex Kurtzman calls you? And I believe one of us, maybe the one with more hair, suggested that he would love to see almost like, a West Wing style Archer show.
Yeah.
With Archer as president of the Federation. I would still love to see that, but I certainly would take something along the lines of Andor, which has real gravitas to it and real stakes, as opposed to the problem of the week. What do you think?
I think now, as someone who has not seen Andor yet, I have heard just exactly what you described. And I think it would be great to have that. I love the West Wing Enterprise Archer idea. I love the idea of an Archer story no matter what, because I have grown to really love the character. I love what Scott did on the show. And it would be fun to get additional adventures and maybe some closure, because there was really never any closure with Enterprise. We got to see the finale, the real finales of TNG and DS9 and Voyager, and Enterprise wasn't really one of those. So I'm all for it. I think it'd be great. It gives us the opportunity maybe to have a couple recurring, guest appearances from other people from Enterprise. But we'll see. But that's the great thing about Star Trek is there's always stories to tell, and there's always ways to tell them with people that we're familiar with.
Well, that's it. I mean, I don't think they'd get the band together like they did for Picard season 3.
Yeah.
But I do think they would take the opportunity to work in characters that make sense, including potentially Trip Tucker.
Yeah.
Because he's not dead. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, he came back to life in the novels. It's possible that he could be at that same star base where Kirk's body and Picard's body was in Picard season 3. I think that's all very possible. Section 31 is doing their thing, and who knows? Anything can happen. Plus, you could see T'Pol very easily. You could see Phlox, or Malcolm or Hoshi, or really anybody. I think it would be great if Hoshi, was, is, I don't want to say director of communications because that's a little too on the money, but what if Hoshi is like his vice president or, chief of staff or something along those lines?
Yeah.
A more meaty or weighty role. I think that would be amazing, quite honestly.
I like you said it a second ago. I love the idea of bringing these characters. If they do this, let's say they do to bring people back. I don't think anything would be able to top what they did with bringing the whole gang back at the end of Picard season 3. That's just one of those things that you're not going to be able to duplicate it. You wouldn't even be able to, as DS9 favorite series, you wouldn't even be able to accomplish that amount of oomph bringing back the whole DS9 cast. So.
The other thing it gives us the potential to do is have more Jeffrey Combs in our lives. And who doesn't want more Jeff Combs?
Get all three of the main characters he played, Shran, Brunt, and Wayoon, all in the same room, finally, with CGI.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen for the Wayoons, but I mean, certainly we should be able to get Shran. I don't want to see him back as another no-name Ferengi, or even Brunt. If it's Enterprise, it's got to be Shran.
Absolutely,
in some form.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Shran is a twin brother. I don't know. But
hey, Gul Dukat did kind of.
Did he?
The very first Cardassian you ever saw was Gul Macet.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And it was Mark Alimo. And in the novels, they made him his cousin of Gul Dukat.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool. Ross says, give us a 10-episode season with an hour and a half each, and not a series that goes on for far too long. I'd be okay with like a 3-season run, kind of like Picard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be justifiable. I don't think it necessarily has to be a different problem each season, but it could be one long, arc over 30 episodes. I would be all for that.
Yeah.
Ross also says, I think Trek Geeks started the rumor on Trek Talks that day with the interview. That's going to be my story, quite frankly.
We'll take credit for it. Sure. Why not?
Yeah. Jim says, if United is a West Wing Star Trek, I vote for T'Pol to be vice president. That would be pretty cool. And he also would want to see Trip be the director of Section 31.
Oh, that's interesting.
Helen asking the burning question, why has Jeffrey Combs not yet been on Strange New Worlds? This is an excellent question, especially as Shran, I just want to say.
Yeah, it's an excellent question because he was in Lower Decks. So he has been involved in stuff. That's a great question. Bill, why don't you get Mr. Star Trek on the phone? We'll find out what's going on.
Yeah, what we should do, because it seems like he's doing a whole lot of podcasts, is talk to Mike Sussman, the writer who kind of brought this idea to Bakula. And so, Dan, if you would talk to our director of guest relations, vice president of guest relations,
thank you,
and track down Sussman, let's have that conversation and talk about this idea.
I will have the conversation with the person who is responsible for it.
It's spoiler alert for those of you listening and watching. That's Dan.
That's me. So I'm going to be talking to myself.
That will not be the first time. I think that goes without saying. Dan, we're going to take a quick ad break to talk about our dear friends at FanSets, and then we're going to come back and talk about a couple of more stories, one of which has a show and tell involved. I'm really excited for that, but we want everyone to stay right there. Don't go away. This ship is running out of time this week, Dan. It's 8:29.
It's because there's no Garcia. So
it's because, oh, wow. I can't believe you went there. But Dan, of course, we want to take this moment to thank our dear friends, our Star Trek family at FanSets, for being the presenting sponsor of both Trek Geeks, the entire network, and for this live stream right here, Thursday Night Geeks.
Absolutely love them. They're our friends, they're our family. We love announcing their newest pins. We're going to do that right now. Lots of new stuff to discuss tonight. First up, it's another amazing Trek legend has been lower decked, and it's Kira Nerys, looking great as a lower deck animated character.
I'm going to
also
deck you.
Thank you very much. Also available right now at fansets.com. It's the latest in the Dedication Plaque series from Picard Season 2. It's the Forward Avenue Dedication Plaque. And I got to say, dude, in all my years of being a Trek fan, I have never, ever heard of this Delta. But then again, Fansets has 77 for just one episode. So, well, who am I to argue? I'm okay with it, though. It's the latest in the Trek Delta line from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. It's the off-duty gold Delta. Okay. It's available in both magnet and pin form. And why do you need an off-duty Delta?
Well, Savik's wearing it. That's
I'm not complaining. Believe me, I'm not complaining. But I did not know that there was such a thing.
Well, and it's really the only time you see it. One could say it kind of resembles the one that the junior officers are wearing on the bridge
Mhm.
in Star Trek 2 with those weird sort of, beige torso
Yes.
uniforms with the
Yep.
maroon sleeves. But I actually love this Delta because it's just so simple.
It is. It
Um,
is, and it looks great. But I off duty. If you're off duty, don't have your Delta on. Then you know you're not on duty.
well, but on Voyager, they wore Deltas off duty all the time.
But they
So
had communicators built into them. These don't.
doesn't matter.
Oh, geez. Anyway, okay. Moving on, because I'm off duty. It's the big release for this week. It is the first of two holiday pins for 2025. That's right, two. The first one is adorable. It's Lower Deck the Halls with Tendi. It's a pin. It has also got the handy little loop at the top of the pin, so you can hang it right there on your Christmas tree. And Bill, I bet you didn't know this, but all of these pins are available right now at fansets.com.
They are. Can we talk about this Tendy pin for a second? Tendy is my favorite lower decker. Okay. Um, and I love the idea of this lower decks the halls. I think this is wonderful. If you want to wear this as a pin, there also are, pin backings
Yeah,
on the back of it, but you absolutely can use it as an ornament using a little loop right here. So I want to be sure to tell people you can still use it as a pin. It's awesome.
absolutely.
And we want everyone to go get those pins off duty, on duty, whatever. Put them all in your cart. So you get them, you click add to cart, and you do it for all of them. And then at checkout, you want to enter the special discount code word Trek Geeks
Mhm.
right there on your screen for 10% off your entire order at fansets.com. That's Trek Geeks, all capital letters, no spaces. No, 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 don't do it. No spaces for that 10% off. And of course, Dan, when
Hmm.
you spend more than $30 on fansets.com, you know what you get?
Free shipping.
Free dang shipping.
Oh,
Only at
dang shipping.
fansets.com.
Okay. Fansets. Our pins have character, and we thank our friends at Fansets for being the presenting sponsor of Thursday Night Geeks.
Dan, of course, we're back to talk a little more news. And I got to tell you, before we kind of bring up this next story, I'm a little bummed out about it. Largely because we were there a handful of years ago when he came back, and now he's going away, presumably for the last time from, well, really everything.
Right. Yeah. This was sad to see. Was announced this week in some interviews and some stories that Patrick Stewart will be hanging up his acting shoes after he has done filming for the new Avengers movie, as he's going to reprise his role as Professor X. When that is done, he will be retiring after an unbelievable career. And you said it. We were there when they announced, or he announced, that Picard was coming back, and it was one of the most amazing moments that we have ever been a part of, Star Trek related. And now he's wrapping it up for good, and it's sad, but he deserves the time to relax because he's entertained us all for so long.
Well, that's the thing. Whenever we talk about Patrick Stewart, I specifically say he is one of our planet's finest actors. And he truly is. That's not just because of Star Trek. That's because his body of work has been impressive, doesn't do it justice as an adjective. He doing Star Trek cemented his legacy as a pop culture icon, but everything else has done is shown his versatility, his skill, his ability to work with any kind of material,
Yeah.
whether it's comedy or drama or what have you. And I understand he's in his 80s. I understand that the dude deserves a break, but it's almost like Jean-Luc Picard retiring from Starfleet. You don't want to see it. It's an eventuality, but I think for us in particular, it's a reminder that we're all getting older. Um, I'm a little bummed out about it. I'm a little heartbroken. I'm not going to lie.
I'm bummed out. I'm heartbroken to see him retiring, because I'm heartbroken that he has aged. He was so great in Picard, but it was sad sometimes for me to watch him because he reminded me so much of my dad.
Yeah.
Right before my dad passed away, just had that tired look to him, and Patrick looked a little tired sometimes, but he did such a great job reprising the role, and he said years ago he wasn't going to do it again, but he did, and he was fantastic, and everything he's been in is fantastic. I love him as Professor X. I mean, there's a really, I mean, it's a bad movie in terms of it's just a horrible topic, but he's in a movie called The Green Room, and he plays a real racist, mean, neo-Nazi type character, but it just shows how he can do anything. His acting craft, he can perform anything that is handed to him in a script.
He really can. It's I have a great fondness for Patrick Stewart. You know, at first when TNG premiered, I didn't think I was going to dig it, quite frankly. By the way, hi, Steve Tweed. He sent an hola, guys, earlier, and I agree with him. That was the best convention moment ever. But you know, I Jean-Luc Picard grew on me. That whole crew grew on me. It's like I said when we talked about, you know, the first time Riker and Troy show up on Picard. You know, I didn't realize I'd come to love that collection of characters as much as I have, or that they mean that much to me. And that is especially true of Picard himself. I am overjoyed that he's had the success he's had, that he's been able to tell a final chapter in the story of Jean-Luc Picard. I'm excited that he will get to spend more quality time at home with his wife, Sunny, and maybe even a dog or two.
Yeah.
But it's also a reminder that unfortunately there are fewer days ahead than there are behind, as Kirk says at one point. So absolutely a top-notch class act, and forever will be. We'll never see his like in Star Trek again, honestly.
No, I really don't think we will. I mean, they've tried to bring out the strong characters, but no, everybody else, you're going to be looking up to him.
Yeah, you really will. So we wish him all the success in the world, all the love in the world. If he were here today, I would throw my meaty hooks around him and give him a giant hug.
And then you'd have a restraining order.
I would have a restraining order for all that he brought, not only to Picard, but to Star Trek. Because it really did. I think it made Next Generation really part of the success it is. Obviously the writing did, the directing did, the cast itself did, but his presence as Picard, I think, was next level.
And hence the reason why I have this shirt on tonight is because of this story that we're talking about right now. A
beautiful shirt from the Trek Geeks shop at trekgeekshop.com. Get yours today.
Nicely done.
So, Dan, with that, we move on to our final story tonight. And this is probably the biggest one of the evening, and that is the Enterprise D Lego set was announced officially today. That's November 6th, 2025, for anybody listening to the audio version. And if you weren't aware, it became big news within fandom in short order.
Very short order. This is something that people have been hoping for years, and I remember at Vegas a few years back, we were talking to John Van Sitters, and I said something about, what about Lego? And he's like, could you even not even say that word? Because that's something that people just have always been wanting for years and years and years. It has finally happened, and not putting down any other company that has ever done a set, brick sets. Blue Bricks is fantastic, but people have been waiting for this relationship with Lego, and it is finally here. So today, yes, they unveiled the first ever Star Trek Lego set. It is the Enterprise D. It is 3,600 pieces. It is going to be 10.5 inches high, 23.5 inches long, and 18.5 inches wide. Beautiful. The saucer section will separate by a little switch. There are, I think, like a dozen minifigures of different parts of the crew. 9, include and Spot the cat for some ungodly reason, but that's okay. The people love Spot the cat. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'll tell you what. when this first was announced, I was not today, but when the announcement that this was going to happen, I was very excited. And then we started to see snippets of things online of what it might be looking like, and I was not thrilled. I'm excited about this one. I think it's going to look great. And it will be definitely something that I add to the collection. And I hope it does really well so that they can continue to do other ships, not just Federation starships. I want to see other ships, Romulan warbirds, and just, there's so much potential here. So hopefully it'll go well.
We should point out that it has not been reported that they have a license with Lego.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we know, this is a one-off ship production under the Lego Icons series, where they do certain specific things as a special project. So to the best of our knowledge, we don't have anything to confirm or deny this. This is a one-time Star Trek offering.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that future offerings or the potential for them depend on the sales of this particular item.
Yep.
So if you want to see more Star Trek Legos, the best way to enable that to happen is to buy Star Trek Legos.
Yes. It's funny. We were chatting today with our good friend. I love the way you say his name, Lionel Marchand. I love the way you say it when we do the Patreons. He is a humongous Lego fan. And he is so excited about this. So we were talking about it this morning in chat, and how he was bringing up technical stuff that I didn't understand about Legos, but it's exciting when something like this happens, and there's people that share that excitement. As adult Lego fans, I for one am ecstatic about this.
Same here. I'm a big Lego nerd. I've been putting them together for years. I don't have any here in my nook, but that's only because there isn't room right now until I reorganize things. But I've got a ton of Lego Batman. My wife did the Lego Home Alone house for Christmas last year. She put that together. I did the Lego Bat Cave, the Shadow Box last year. I've got a Lego Batmobile still waiting to be assembled. It's just, I love Legos because, some people do Sudoku, some people do crosswords. Mm-hmm. I do Legos, and right. I love them. I always have. I will get this, even though I already have the Blue Bricks Enterprise D right here, mm-hmm. Which we're going to show you a bit of to talk comparison in just a minute. One thing I do want to point out about this Enterprise D from Lego is that they're having a contest where you can win one of the Lego Enterprise Ds autographed by Jonathan Frakes. There's details about it on the Lego website. If you purchase it Black Friday. Also, if you purchase Black Friday, you get a special gift with purchase, which is a Lego Type 15 shuttle pod that has an Ensign Row minifig.
Does that mean it gets blown up when you get done using it? Oh,
no, it's in TNG, so it means she phases through walls and not floors. But if you go and get that, you can get the Ensign Row minifig, nice. As a part of the same thing. It's much smaller. It's designed to be, a gift. They're not going to give you something as big as this. You can see its size relation there to the Enterprise D. It's much smaller, but still fun to display. And I can't wait to assemble that actually too.
Yeah. So I will say I watched they had a live stream event for it today. And I watched it after the fact, and they showed all the pieces. If there's one thing that I'm kind of bummed that it doesn't have, because the what is it? Mega Blocks, is that the one that did the Enterprise for the 50th anniversary?
Yes. Yes.
That one, the big giant one that I have, the warp engine nacelles had a little push button on it, and it lit up. I wish they had done something like that with part of this, whether it be the warp engines or the nacelles themselves, to have some kind of a glow or something like that. That would have been cool. But there are aftermarket kits, I'm sure, are going to come out that'll take care of all of that.
I had hoped this would be a Lego Technic set, which has some of those things built into it, like a light brick or whatever. But you're right. If there are a couple of different companies that let you do aftermarket light sets that are usually pretty cheap, and you can add them after you build the ship. So I think that's pretty cool, quite honestly. I will probably do that as well, because I don't think that, seeing the nacelles, unlit is anywhere near as cool as seeing them lit, you
Yes,
know.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Now, it's you're gonna have to have a few quatloos for this one. It is 3.9. It's gonna retail for $399.99 American US dollars, which is not cheap, but 3,600 pieces. That's a lot of pieces, and there's a lot that goes into stuff like that, because I know that some people are like, oh my god, I can't afford $400. And no, 400, it's expensive. It's basically it's a toy put together, and it's a display piece, and it's $400. But a lot of engineering goes into these things, a lot of time and energy, and of course we don't know if there is a license, if it's a one-time license, but we know from our friends at FanSets, this license with Star Trek is not cheap. So
No,
take that
that's
into
true.
effect also.
So I want to call out some distinct differences, and on video this may not be as smooth a transition as it will be in audio. But first, I want to take a look again at the image of the Enterprise D and the primary hull, the saucer section,
Mhm.
on the new Lego version. You'll see here, there's sort of some of these different colors, which I'm sure are probably the meant to be the escape pods that you see, which are kind of yellowish on the
Yep.
Enterprise D when you look at it. There's some different textures here. You see a little shuttle bay kind of thing here with a little, kind of quasi shuttle. This is a stark contrast to the blue bricks. Now I've added my phone here to StreamYard, and I'm going to sort of put this in solo layout mode. Here you can see that the saucer section is a little different. There are more
Yeah.
smoother bricks. You don't see the color differences that you see, on the Lego model. I
Mhm.
don't think there's as much detail here as there is in the
Agreed.
Lego version itself.
Mhm.
It's still very cool, the blue bricks. I mean, this was a fun build, but there's some definite differences in the way these have been constructed. Uh, you know, um, Already for me, I think that the Lego is an improvement in that sense.
Yeah, I think that the fact that the Blue Bricks one goes from textured to smooth for almost the rest of the top of the saucer back to just a little bit of texture at the top. It looks a little odd where this one is kind of like all throughout you've got texture and smooth, as you see in the actual ship. One thing I thought was really cool in the Blue Bricks one when you were just showing it is even the front of the saucer has the window slits. I thought that's a pretty good touch that they did on that.
Yeah, and you'll notice here it looks like it's a couple of decks tall. And I'll show this
Mhm.
to you now on the Blue Bricks one. It is not nearly as tall. Well, let me solo this again. So this is the underside of the hull there for the pardon the moving boxes in the background. But you'll see that there's not as much detail here. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a slightly more graded ridge, like there is a more rounded shape on the underside of the saucer than there is on the Lego one, where it looks like more of a cliff or a slant.
Mhm.
But I do think that the Lego is better because it has these sort of windows, whereas on the Blue Bricks version, you get with these things here,
Right.
you kind of get the implication of windows without actual windows.
Gotcha.
So I think that the Lego set, while some people are talking about this doesn't look good for the Lego, I actually think looks better than the Blue Bricks one, quite frankly.
Yeah. How
Um,
many, Ross was asking, how many pieces was that? Do you recall, Bill?
it
The
was
Blue Bricks?
roughly the same, I believe.
Okay.
I want to say it was probably roughly about 3,000.
Okay.
I put it together a couple of years ago now, but it's hard to say because I genuinely don't remember. I'm sure that the Google Foo would probably help isolate some of that. I'm
Yes.
going to take a second to turn this around. You can blather on, Dan.
Yeah. I'll blather. I'm blathering. Um, we talked about whether or not this is a one-time license. Um, People who are in the chat, I'd love to see what you would like to see for ships other than Federation starships. Just to be a little bit different, because we have not had many large version ships of any brick build that I'm aware of that aren't Federation.
So, here you see kind of like the three-quarter view looking over the nacelle to the back. There's this little shuttle bay with a little shuttle there. You get to see the sides of the nacelles, which I think look really cool. To contrast, this is how it looks with the blue bricks. It doesn't look too bad. The sides of the nacelles are actually pretty cool. I think they're very similar, although the color I think is off. Let me turn that like that. So it's you get some LEDs here at the top, to kind of show you the marker lights for port and starboard. But I don't think the nacelle looks nearly as good as it does on the Lego version, quite honestly. I think there's more Star Trek detail on the nacelle on the Lego set.
I like both of them. I actually like the even though it's not precise, the darker blue on those nacelle engines. I like that on that. But the blue bricks, let's say there were those windows. I just loved that. Were those on the bricks, Bill, or were they like sticker strips?
No, those actually were on the bricks themselves.
Yeah, that's cool. That would have been a lot of sticker strips to put on.
Yeah, it would have, because they're all around the hull. Could Lego have added some of that detail? Yes, but I think it would have added like 3 pages of sticker sheets, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I think that it's cool that the shuttle bay cover lifts off on the Lego version.
Yes.
I do like that feature. This does not lift off on the blue bricks. I do think the detail is fine. This is meant to signify the other shuttle bays. And I think that that's handled with decals on the Lego version here and here. So there are trade-offs with each of these versions. None of them can actually be a true representation of how this ship looks or would look. I think that it's doing the best it can, quite frankly, in any case.
I like what they did with this one. That hatch above, right in front of the shuttlecraft, comes off, and then there's a little button that you'll push so that you can separate the saucer, because it will actually detach, which is kind of cool. Did the blue bricks, does that detach, or is it
not intentionally? You can. And mine actually did detach once when Isabella decided to throw a dog toy across the room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it would look like the end of Generations, quite frankly.
Like my runabout.
Yeah, and there's the cover of the shuttle bay that comes off Shuttle Bay 1.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and these are meant to simulate those Type 15 shuttlecrafts there. And it's all very cool. It's a detail that you don't normally see. Of course, the Blue Bricks one doesn't come with minifigs. That's just not what they do. So,
I like that they added Guinan. That was kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, it would have been. If it was Q, it would have been cool. I mean, I just like that they added somebody besides just the standard regular crew.
Yeah. Now you can see here that this guy is shown kind of holding onto this model, and I'm actually going to pick this one up. I'm going to go back to dual mode here, and you can see that size-wise they're fairly comparable. Give me 1 second.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, that's one of the things that I was looking forward to, is that this was going to be a nice, good-sized one. And there you go. See, you got to hold that with 2 hands. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Well, I'm holding the stand because I don't think the stand is nearly as good as the Lego one.
Yep.
It looks kind of flimsy, and actually is kind of flimsy. But size-wise, they look fairly comparable as far as the ship itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this one balances on a wing and a prayer on those clear pieces underneath the saucer section. Yep. Whereas the Lego one, as usual, has a really rugged stand that you don't have to worry about it falling off.
And if I remember seeing pictures somewhere, I have to see if they were rumored on the rumor pages or the actual, that stand that it's on can actually move, so you can change the angle of the ship of where, if it's straight or at an angle. I think I'm not 100% sure of that, though.
I wouldn't be surprised by that, quite frankly. Yeah. That sounds like the kind of detail that they would put in. But I mean, I would kind of want it at a slight pitch up.
Yeah.
Which I think is the default setting. Oh yeah, actually, let me share this. Share the screen. Yeah, it looks like.
There you go.
It looks like that he's about to insert the stand into these slots on the base, which is how it's so sturdy. It rests down at least 3-4 inches there, or 2 or 3 inches onto the stand, so it doesn't go anywhere. It's not setting on top of it. The stand is actually inside the Enterprise D.
Yeah. They make sure that that those things aren't going to fall apart easily, like happens from time to time.
Allegedly. So I will. There's no Lego store near me, right? So I have to buy it online. I suppose I could go to Raleigh. That's a good 45-50 minutes away, depending on where the mall is. And I have to hope it's not a crime scene in there. It's going to be Black Friday. I imagine it could be busy with
Yeah.
people trying to find the best deals they can, given the state of how expensive things are in the economy right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's funny because I wasn't sure what was going on because there's no pre-order at the Lego store on Lego's website, as at
no,
least earlier today. So I'm like, okay, is it going for pre-order on November 28th? But no, its release date is November 28th. So yeah, I will be willing to bet any place where there is a Lego store, it is going to be pandemonium there. There's one right at downtown Disney. And that place is busy normally. I can't
what a
imagine
bummer.
that place is gonna be like, yeah.
What a bummer. I don't think this is going to be like, some of the other sets that they've done where they've dropped on a particular day and there's going to be a shortage or a lack of, a high demand at the point where they sell out. Like the R2D2 droid for Lego that I had to have Adam the intern buy for me down in New Jersey and ship it to my house because I couldn't get one in New England.
Yep. Yep.
You know, the real thing here is the sticker shock for a lot of people.
Yeah.
$3.99 is expensive. It's right in line for where Lego sets of this size normally go, though, and I
Yes.
think that's important
true.
to call out.
Yep.
Why is that? Lego has a massive operation. They don't just have one plant. I think Lionel said they've got 7 and then are building 2 more.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Just because the demand for their product is so insane. But I can't fault anybody that doesn't get this because it is expensive.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that the price is only going to go up on the secondary market after this is no longer available.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're collecting gift cards, if you know somebody who, is independently rich and wants to buy you one, and you really want this, it may serve you to get it now, because if you get it on eBay later, I guarantee you're going to pay a premium.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if they don't have any others after this one. If this is the only Star Trek one, then yeah, those prices are going to be like insane on places like eBay.
Yeah. Steve says, I'm sure the booklet inside will be filled with fun stuff, almost assuredly.
Yeah.
Pretty much every Lego there is comes with some kind of booklet, especially the special ones like this. In addition, usually at the front of the instructions, there's usually 10, 12 pages of details or what have you. But those are always, cool to me. So Ross says the shuttle is the release for the saucer section to separate. That is correct. I didn't realize it was the shuttle at first when I first started looking at it, but that's a brilliant idea. They're kind of hiding it in there. Google Foo says the Blue Bricks was 1971 as far as pieces.
Okay.
So, 1,600 pieces less than this Enterprise.
Yeah. It still looks great, though.
Just throwing it out there. Of course, the stand is going to account for some of that,
yeah,
but nowhere
right.
near as much.
Right.
Helen would like to see DS9. I would love to see that too. I actually have the Blue Bricks DS9, which I have not assembled yet. I bought it when they were closing out their Star Trek line because I wanted to have it, and now you can't get it anywhere.
I think Thad did the DS9 one. I'll have to check with him. Yeah.
Steve would love to see a Bird of Prey. That's the easy answer.
Yeah.
Brad would love to see the Defiant. Helen and I always line up on these things. The 1701 refit, could not agree more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my favorite ship. I've learned to love the Enterprise D, but the refit absolutely is my ship. I think I covered this one, Ross. The saucer for the Blue Bricks will come off. I don't think you necessarily want it to, though.
I love how you put that, man. That's funny.
Jim says he's going to the Lego store near him for sure. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Ross also says, I'll be up at midnight full of turkey and dressing and be ordering this thing. Been saving my points and some gift cards. That's the other thing. If you are going to order from Lego, sign up for their Lego Insiders program where you collect points.
Also, if I may, I think you have to be an insider in order to enter the raffle for the signed Jonathan Frakes edition. If I remember correctly, when I was reading the stuff.
Good to know.
You do need to sign up for that.
Check out all those details on lego.com because they'll tell you how you can enter that contest. our friend Heather up in Canada. Hey, Heather, it's good to see you. Hey, guys, crossing my fingers I can get that one online. Closest Lego store for me is a 4 to 5 hour drive. You should be able to. It should go live on Black Friday itself. The saving grace there is that it may go online before the Lego stores actually open. I'm assuming that the Lego stores will be open on Black Friday. Some of the retailers, are opening later, not as early as they used to. So definitely I would scope out the online maybe as early as you can.
But I would also say, Heather, if you couldn't get it online, you drive the 5 hours, wouldn't you? You would. I would.
Yeah. And Jim brings up another great point. All the really good Lego sets seem to be expensive. Fact, Lego knows they have a great product, and they are not afraid to charge for it because people will buy it. The other thing too is they are gearing this toward the adult fan of Lego. That really is a thing. I'm sure there are some kids who would love this set, but this really is for the adults who grew up watching Trek in the 90s. So, I think that it's going to be, and of course there's Casey Shafsky, the lovely and talented, did you know Casey is a Kenny Loggins impersonator in his everyday life?
And I will also say to Casey, happy saxophone day, buddy.
Happy saxophone day, Casey.
Yeah.
Definitely the refit for sure. I can't wait to buy this. I now have to figure out how to stage these two Enterprises side by side once they're both built. But when we talk about aftermarket lighting, there's a site that I like, and I'll make this recommendation. Please do your due diligence and make the decision that's right for you. Casey, I'm all right.
Hey, don't nobody worry about him.
Yeah,
not at all.
There's one called Lightgo. It's like Lego with light in the middle.
Yeah.
This is the one that I've used for some of the other things I've done. I would imagine that they will have a set for this Enterprise. And if you subscribe to their newsletter, you get 25% off the light set with your first order. So I would do that, but don't sign up until you're ready to buy, because it's possible that discount may have an expiration on it. So once you get the set, once you're ready to, to know that you want to put lights on it, then I'd go ahead and sign up for their thing and get the 25% off. There's another one out there, and I can't remember the name of it for lights. But
I've used the one that you pulled up for a couple of mine. So yeah,
but it's really cool. It takes some delicate work sometimes to run that wire under the bricks, but they tell you exactly where to do it. And you don't put the lights in as you're building it. You go back after you're done, just to be clear.
So you do have to take pieces off, and and one of the cool things also, a couple of my sets, my Infinity Gauntlet, the light kit that I got actually has sound with it also.
Oh, so very cool.
It'd be kind of cool if they did some sound with if sound kits with it also. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah. So that's LELIGHTGO.com. Or take the word Lego, cut it in half, and type the word light in the middle. Heather did come back with an answer to your question. If it was the Defiant, she would drive the 4 to 5 hours, just to be clear. I endorse this.
Good answer. Yeah. And I will say also the Blue Bricks Defiant is freaking awesome.
Yeah, you've got that.
One, and I love that one. That came out great.
So Dan, that is going to do it for News of the Galaxy for this week. We will be back next week with our Sci-Fi Sisters to talk about the Sabrina Wood Legacy Fund. This will be an episode where it's a little bit different tone. We probably, won't have the theme music or the standard countdown. Certainly no ad breaks, because we want to honor and tribute Sabrina, the best way possible. Right. So we hope you'll join us for next week as we talk about that fund, which is going to do some great things in Sabrina's memory. But until then, Dan, this has been yet another Thursday Night Geeks. Believe it or not, the 26th Thursday Night Geeks. We've done a full season of Next Gen.
25th. Wow. What's that?
We've done like a full season of Next Gen.
There you go. Absolutely.
So for the mayor of Flavortown, I am the not mayor of Flavortown. We wish you all a great week. We'll see you next time on Thursday Night Geeks. Live long and prosper, everybody.
Coconut.
Hey, you said it. That's awesome.
See?